Hey y'all, today we are covering WWF Hasbro, and I'm fucking psyched. So to that, it is Wally's Tequila and Toy Time. Cheers. Hey, what's going out there? So today we're going to look at some classic stuff. If you've been watching this channel for its short life so far, I think you already know that I love wrestling figures. I've talked about some modern ones. I've talked about some Jakks Pacific Bone Cruncher, but I have not yet touched upon the classic WWF Hasbro. I love these figures. I mean, it's nostalgia city for me. It's just some of the coolest stuff combined in a wrestling figure. I just love the carding, the photo, that classic WWF logo. I mean, to me, you cannot beat it. Now, talking about the figures themselves, I love them as well. I love the kind of the sculpts, how bright and colorful they are. I really like that, what's called the Hasbro sheen, the Hasbro shine on the plastic. Now listen, of course, when you're talking about these compared to modern wrestling figures, you know, when it comes to articulations and actually having matches with your figures, it's a whole other story. But this is really all nostalgia value, and I freaking love these figures. Let's take a look at the back of Hogan's card. Also, I love this about it too. There's something like even old G.I. Joe figures, you can kind of cut out a stat card. I like that with these Hasbro wrestling figures, and I think it's kind of neat looking back now that they actually had drawings of these figures in the back. They didn't use a stock photo of the figure or a photo of the wrestler. They just had an actual artist rendition. There's something kind of cool and nostalgic just about that. So this particular figure that we're looking at today, this is the 1991 release. It is a Series 2 Hulk Hogan, so this is the second one put out. And you know what? I mean, most of the Hogans I like. The only thing is that last Hogan without the shirt, it was great to have it without the shirt, but they didn't nail the tan. You know what I mean? They did not nail the tan. So, let's talk about this figure a little bit. This is not an unboxing. I just love the whole package when it comes to these classic Hasbro wrestling figures. And I think actually having them on card, it's a cooler look to hang up like on your wall. Just overall having these figures with the carding. You know, I almost love the carding on it as much as the figures themselves when it comes to this particular Hasbro line. So again, Series 2 Hulk Hogan. Let's get into a little detail. It has the Hulkster hug. All right, you can see kind of squashed with those arms. And let's take a look at the figure overall. We have a Hulk shirt. And of course, the classic trunks look. You know what I love about, and I'm even going to talk about it more later on when I get into the Bret Hart figure, but one thing I love about Hasbro is they really knew how to fucking nail the tan. They actually pulled it off. I mean, if the guy was tan, with the exception of that last Hogan, of course, without the shirt, but I mean, look at his figure. He's got that nice fucking tan going on. It's representative. I mean, look at him on the packaging, right? You can see it kind of makes sense. He's tan. And, you know, speaking on some modern stuff, you know, recently the Ultimate Edition Hollywood Hulk Hogan just came out by Mattel. I freaking love that figure. Overall, I think it's awesome. But dude, where's his tan? He doesn't have a tan. I don't get it. You would think, I mean, back then, you know, in the early 90s, Hasbro was able to replicate an actual skin tone, you know, with these guys, an actual tan. Yet for some reason on, you know, a brand new Hulk Hogan Ultimate Edition, you know, the best of the best, released here in 2020, he looks way too pale. I mean, the tan does not look anything like his actual tan looked like at that time, in like 97, 98, and so on. So, for some reason, Hasbro nailed it well. I don't know. I think Mattel still needs a lot of work to do with nailing the tans. So he's nice and tanned. I like the sculpt. Bandana, the shirt is cool. It's kind of like almost like a lesser known Hulk Hogan shirt. It's not like the Hulkamania thing, but nonetheless, and like I said, when it comes to those first kind of three Hogans, all the shirted ones, there's almost a different reason to like each of them. I can't really pick a preference, and again, take a look at that beautiful Hasbro shine. So this is Series 2 Hulk Hogan. I love this figure, and, you know, for the most part, again, the Hasbro Hulk Hogan figures are pretty spot on, with the exception of the shirtless one that was missing the tan. Let's move on. All right, let's take a look. This is the Series 8 Bret the Hitman Hart. On the red card, which is cool. I like how, you know, in the later series with Hasbro, they did start switching up the colors. Again, you got that beautiful classic WWF logo, Hasbro down there. It comes with the Heart Attack, real wrestling action. And here's the figure itself. Let's take a look. See the singlet there, the pink on top. Got that great logo. Let's take a look at the head sculpt there. Silver sunglasses, jet black hair. And what do you know, once again, a beautiful fucking tan. I realize that I'm fixating on the tans a lot in this episode. I don't know what it is. I live in Southern California, about the tan. So let's get into the figure itself. So again, Series 8, this is later on in the Hasbro run. This is the second release for Bret the Hitman Hart. He had an early release where he still really kind of had more of the Hart Foundation tag team look. His singlet attire was a little more basic. It wasn't really representative of that solo, you know, IC belt kind of level Bret Hart. So this is without a doubt, my favorite Bret Hart Hasbro. And to be honest with you, it is actually just one of my favorite Hasbros. I think it's probably, it's a toss-up between 1 and 2, because this one could be number 1 or number 2, but also, if you go up here, almost like a crucifix on my wall, my figure room is that dark blue card Shawn Michaels, and I'm obsessed with that figure as well. So it's really between that Shawn and this Bret, as far as my favorite Hasbro figures. Now, once again, look, you know, as I mentioned, the tan is perfect. Bret Hart was freaking tan at the time. It made sense, so I just love that attention to detail, the fact that they actually tried to capture the skin tone, and once again, why in the 90s that was able to be pulled off, and in 2020 we still can't get it right, I don't get it. Now again, the first Bret Hart release was pretty cool, but, you know, it was more of a basic attire. This is obviously more detailed, more ornate, more like that single run Bret. So let's take a look. The head sculpt. I have a slight bit of cloudiness on the carding there, so I know that kind of disrupts the look a little bit, but you can tell. Again, great jet black hair. I love the silver, the metallic silver on the sunglasses. We'll get to the upper body here. He has the pink wrist tape and elbow pads. Now I know there are various releases of this Bret Hart. I think there's a more rare version where the wrist tape and the arm pads are different colors. I'm not exactly sure of the specifics on it, so I don't want to say something and be incorrect. But there are definitely variants of this figure and more rare kind of combinations when it comes to the wrist tape and such. I always loved that torso mold they use. I thought it actually looked like Bret Hart's torso. As weird and creepy as it is. But it really looks like him. And then you got that logo there, which is very accurate. You know, I noticed even some later versions of Bret, when they released later Bret Hart figures, even in like the Jakks Classic Superstars 1, still like the heart design on the chest, kind of like it was like almost hand drawn, like an interpretation of it. Yet even back in the day here, as you can see by looking at that, looking at this, Hasbro like got the exact design nailed. And most of the Mattel ones these days are excellent. But it's just kind of funny when you see older companies in the 90s, older releases nailing something like really freaking accurate, and yet in the 2000s, it's fudged up for whatever reason. So let's take a look at the boots. You got those Bret Hart boots right there. You got the 4 hearts representing his children. Got the design on the side there, and then of course, as I mentioned already, the very accurate, well done logo there in the chest, the great tan, and a really cool sculpt. I mean, just overall, again, I think this is one of the coolest, and you know, I'm biased because, you know, pretty much Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart are really my 2 favorite wrestlers, so Their figures always get kind of precedence, but I mean, I just think as far as an overall package, this is really one of the coolest Hasbro figures. The red card just kind of looks cool for that whole series. And again, a great picture of Bret Hart there. And the figure just looks tan, it's pink and black, it kind of pops out. I think it's very cool. Take a look at the back. Let's see what else was going on for Series 8. Mr. Perfect, Yokozuna, Bam Bam, Lex Luger. That was the second Mr. Perfect that came out that actually had the design on the back, but the first was missing. Got a little checklist here, which is very cool. You know, by this time in Series 8, there were plenty of Hasbros on the market. And of course, you know, you had certain things here. You could mail away things and get mail away figures. There was a mail away Hogan, which is extremely rare, same Undertaker. So, to kind of wrap up our Hasbro-a-thon today, this Bret Hart is great. Like I said, it's my number 1 or number 2 favorite Hasbro figure. And I just think it's one of the coolest wrestling figure lines ever. And people love them, so, you know, there's always going to be nostalgia for WWF Hasbro. I will see you next week with more of Wally's Tequila and Toy Time. Until then, keep on rocking.